there. It's the middle of my day here, and I'm going to be heading back to a store and returning these. It was an online order I made. If you were here several videos ago, you'll know that I mentioned that Mr., who is my Norwegian forest cat, they don't come in size small, these cats. Well, he started to leak when he was sleeping. By the way, I'm Mimi. I'm also known as Lori. And this is Mimi on the Move. Right now I am on the move to the store. So yeah, I ordered it from Amazon. This is a size large, too small. So I've gone back online and sought out yet another distributor from somewhere across the world. Can't seem to get these things locally. I don't know. I don't understand shopping anymore. You used to be able to go into a store and, hey, like, I'd like to get this, that, the other thing. Oh, sure, here's that. And aisle 7, go for that. You know, it's not like that anymore. We don't have the luxury of just going to the store anymore and getting what we need. We've somehow transitioned our world to do everything online. Not everything, but 75% online. Anyways, I'm going to go back to that store now and get this returned. I did get a return label from them, and they'll refund me my money once they get this item back. So yeah, that's it for the moment. See you in a few seconds. I had a dilemma this morning if I was going to go to the park north of Nanaimo first and shower later, or shower first and then go to the park with the cat. I've decided to do the shower first. And speaking of the cat, if you were watching any videos before today, like the last couple, I mentioned that I had ordered him some cat diapers because when he's older, he's a senior, that sometimes when he wakes up, he has a bit of leakage. He uses his litter box all the time. That's not an issue. But when he seems to be super relaxed and asleep, he has a bit of leakage. So I thought if it carries on for any length of time, like a week or two, I'll take him into the vet and see if he's actually got a, kidney problem or bladder problem or something like that. But as it turns out, the first set of diapers I ordered were too small. He's a big guy, about 26 pounds, Norwegian forest cat if you don't know. And the size large was too small. I couldn't even get it around him. And he's not fat. He has no fat on him. He's just a big guy. So I got a refund from Amazon immediately. They were great about that. And then I ordered the extra large. They're supposed to arrive today. Now, even though for a couple of days he's had no accidents or no leakages, no nothing, it could have been just a glitch in his health for a couple of days. I don't know. So even though he hasn't had any leakages for a couple of days, that doesn't mean it's not going to happen again. So even if these diapers do arrive today and I don't need them today or tomorrow, I'll have them as backup when I do need them. So that's kind of comforting to know as well. Anyways, I've been on a battery thing today. For those of you that don't know, I have 8 house batteries. Each one is 100 amp hours. That equals 800 amp hours of battery usage from a house. Lights, TV, things like that. Microwave if I use it. My little oven uses a lot. Charging up my phone and iPad and all that. That's what my my battery bank in the house is for. I have a completely separate battery for my engine starting my engine. So it's a completely separate battery. I don't use it for anything except starting the house. Anyways, my battery monitor on the wall over there, it tells me how many volts it's charging at. And it's got an alarm set for too high or too low voltage, and everything's been fine. But the last 2 weeks, the battery monitor isn't getting my batteries up to 100% charge, which has never been a problem in the nearly 7 months I've lived in here. I've been able to have it at 100% every single day because I do a 20-30 minute drive each day, and I'm not a big power person. I don't use a lot of power. On my phone I have an app. It's an app that the house batteries are connected to, which tells me at all times when I open the app what every single battery is doing, how it's doing, is it happy, is it not happy, that sort of thing. It gives me the volts, the watts, the amps. It gives me the temperature of them, the temperature outdoors. It gives me all the information I need. Now, when I go to the Bluetooth app, it says that all the batteries are perfectly at 100% and they're beautiful and happy. But my monitor on the wall tells me a different story. Right now it's at 79%. So what I did is I sent an email to vantoys.com, which is where I bought the batteries from. And for those of you that follow different van lifers on YouTube, the guy his name is Chrome, and he owns vantoys.com, and that's where I bought these batteries from. And they've got a really good warranty, and they seem to be good batteries. I've had no issues with them, and I still don't. It's how they're reading. Anyways, I sent him an email today with a picture of every single battery in that moment, all the stats on each battery, and I also sent him a picture of the battery monitor saying it's only 79%. Now this is really important because I don't want my batteries to get so low that I don't have power in the house, where I can't charge up my devices and whatnot. So when I hear, and if I do hear back from him, I'll let you know what he has to say. I'm really just looking for his advice. And by the way, if there was anything wrong with any of the batteries, the warranty is amazing on these batteries. So yeah, so I'm not worried about anything. I just need information. I just need some help. So I'm gonna be off and running now. I've done the battery thing for a few hours, and I didn't video it because it's not really exciting, and well, probably this isn't either when you think about it. But yeah, just to take a video of me taking pictures of the batteries and where they're at in the moment, I just chose not to. Well, first of all, we're gonna feed Mr. But before we do that, we need to clean up his breakfast dish. Let's take a baby wipe here. Oh, he knows it's dinner time. Look who's coming. There we go. Shiny clean. Nothing's too good for the mister, so then we want to get his own spoon. He has his own spoon. And he has his own cat cover for his dinner. There's not too much preparation for his meal, and he's happy with it as long as he gets it nice and fresh and from the fridge. And I don't know, he never seems to want anything warmed up. I tried warming him up before. That didn't work. Okay, mister. Oh, wait, you forgot. We forgot your placemat, mister. What's that? Here, mister. Kitty, kitty. Mister. There you go. You can have breakfast in bed or dinner in bed tonight. There you go. How's that? Huh? All right, so he's done. That was not a lot of work. All right, so now it's my turn. Now it's my turn. I'm gonna have a carrot. So the other morning at class, I was telling my lady friends at class about something that I used to buy a long time ago when my kids were little, because it was inexpensive and very tasty. And I don't usually buy pork, right? But I can't cook pork chops. I have never cooked a pork chop that's tasted okay. Super dry or stringy or nothing at all. But I did learn to buy back then something called pork steak, and I haven't found them for a very, very long time. Like a few decades. No pork steaks in the stores. I just couldn't find them. Anyways, I happened to be in the grocery store the other day, and I thought, just for shits and giggles, I'm going to ask the guy in the butcher shop, he was kind of cute anyways, about pork steaks, because that's what I used to buy. So I did. I asked him, I said, you know, I used to buy pork steaks a long time ago. What's going on here? Am I out of pepper? Sick. Oh, for heaven's sakes, I only have a little bit left. Anyways, I'll fill it up later. Yeah, so anyways, I said, but I haven't seen pork steaks on the shelves for years. And it's disturbing because it was such a good cut of meat and tasty and juicy, and it had just enough fat in it that when you cook it, the flavor went all through the meat. So tasty. And, oh, he said, oh, we still have those, ma'am. We just don't call them pork steaks. They're not listed on the shelf as pork steaks. I said, oh, okay. So he took me there, and there they were. They're not called just pork steaks anymore. They're called pork shoulder blade. Yeah, pork shoulder blade steaks. Well, I could have basically fallen in love with that young man, just knowing that they still have them somewhere and at my grocery store. Anyways, that's what I'm cooking up tonight, is a pork shoulder steak. Add a carrot and a potato. Maybe a couple of potatoes. So let's get that pan heated up. I'm going to turn the heat down now. Otherwise the alarms go off. There we go. So while that's cooking, they really don't need anything. Salt and pepper, that's it. A little salt and pepper. I got to add some pepper to this pepper thing though. It's running low. Yeah, so a few minutes ago on this video, which was actually probably yesterday, I mentioned that I was having battery issues. Not really battery issues, just my monitor reading. I wasn't understanding why it was reading that, and I actually still don't understand. But anyways, I had purchased 8 100 amp hour of these batteries from Van Toys in Coombs on Vancouver Island, and I was very happy with my batteries, by the way. But I got in touch with, I sent an email to the owner of vantoys.com, to Chrome. If you follow these stations, these channels, he's Van City Van Life, but he's also vantoys.com. And he's got a really nice shop there. You should check it out. But anyways, I sent him an email and mentioned what the issue I was having, and he got back to me like within 12 hours, right? So that was really great. I feel relieved now. He basically said to me, I sent him pictures of every battery and the settings that were there in that moment, and also what the battery monitor was telling me, which was quite different than what the batteries were telling me. And that was my concern. I thought, well, if this battery monitor keeps going down, down, down from 100%, and today it's at 78%, but yet if I check the batteries individually, they say they're at 100%. Well, that's just a contradiction. So I don't understand. I really just don't. I want to, but nobody yet has been able to explain to me why the monitor says less than 100% and the batteries all say 100%. Like, how can the percentage change from the battery itself to the monitor? I don't know. I want to know. Because I need to understand all things about my electrical system and my power system. In order to ever troubleshoot myself, I need to understand it. Anyways, I'm going to trust what he said, that everything's in order. And he did say, don't pay too much attention to the percentage. That doesn't mean a lot. It's what the voltage is telling me that tells the story of the batteries. And the voltage is right in the range it's supposed to be, somewhere between, I don't know, 13 and 14.2 or something like that, in that range. And truly the voltage is consistent amongst all 8 batteries. But I'm still in a dilemma as to why, if the batteries each tell me they're at 100% and functioning well, why does the monitor on my wall that the batteries are supposed to send their information to, why is that monitor telling me everything's at like now 77%? Yesterday it was 78%, the day before it was 79%, the day before 81%, and so on. Now I've been living in here for November, December, January, February, March. I have 7 months, and it's always been at 100%. My battery monitor reads 100%, and has done for 6.5 months. It wasn't until 2 weeks ago that it started saying lower, lower, lower each day. And I'm not a big consumption of power. I'm not a big power hog. I don't use a lot of power here. I really don't. So I've just been in a dilemma about it all. Anyways, I wanted you to know that Chrome from vantoys.com, he really does give good customer service. He explains everything. In fact, one day when I wanted to understand how to hook up the Bluetooth on my phone to each battery so I can look on my iPhone and see the status of each battery, I Googled it, I tried, and you know, I'm in my 70s now and I'm having more difficulty with technology than if I was like not in my 70s. So I had emailed him about it or texted him or whatever, and he just said, come on up, and I'll go through it with you, which I did, and he did, and thank goodness for that kind of service, because I had nobody around me to help me with that. And I'm still a bit confused as to why my battery monitor isn't registering 100% like it used to. Is there a miscommunication somewhere in the system? I don't really know. But anyways, back to dinner. It's going to be a nice dinner. I'm looking forward to it. So we got potatoes and the carrot. We got the meat sitting right here. It's going to take a while. I'll be back in a minute. So while everything is cooking here, I should mention I really like using my little cast iron frying pan, and it is little. It's like that big. The only problem that poses is it doesn't quite fit on the, see that center there? Sometimes it gets caught and it goes on tippy. So I have to line it up. I need one that's maybe 1 inch bigger in diameter, and then I think it'll be perfect. The same goes with my little vegetable pot here. You'll see it falls down too, right into the flame. It falls down because it's a bit small for the, you know what they should have done? They should have made like solid steel, whatever those are called, grill things. They should have made them solid across so you could put any pan on there, small or big. Now, the other thing they should have done is, I'm going to show you this window. This is just bizarre. I don't know who was like asleep at the wheel when they designed this, but I'm not the only one. I've seen other RVs like this too. Okay, see that window right there? See, this is like closed, right? So one would think, because there's the stove. Sorry, I'm not getting this very good. Maybe I'll reverse this for a sec. Okay, that's better. That's better. Okay, so see the stove and there's the sink and whatnot. Okay, let's just get rid of that for a minute. All right, there's the stove. There's the window. Would it not make sense if you're cooking that it opens from here, pushes open that way? Because there's the stove, right? But oh no, in somebody's not so wise wisdom, they made it so that it opens there. Well, not open it all the way like that, but we're still not. So because of that, I need to keep that fan on and Mister's window open when I'm cooking. Yeah, I have to do that to keep, because if I don't, then the alarms go off when this gets too hot, because it gets hot in here. It's a small space. So why would somebody design the window to open from the wrong side? In my opinion, it's the wrong side, okay? I'm gonna turn this over here. See how nice that is looking? Oh my goodness, let me just take you a bit closer again. See how nice that's looking? Yum, yum. All right, put you back. There we go. There we go. That should be good enough. Yeah, it's not a very good view, is it? Oh well, that's how it is. And I also did notice something else about the older RVs. See, this RV is a 24-foot, 2,000. That's another thing. My registration says it's a 2021 Crosstrek Coachman. But the other registration paper says it's a 2020 Ford Transit 350 heavy duty all-wheel drive. So what I learned is that the chassis is a 2020 and the coach, which is the part I live in, is a 2021. So I never know on the registration papers if it's should I put down 2020 or 2021, or should I put them both down just to confuse somebody? Because I think it does make a difference for insurance cost, what year something is. Anyways, it's got about 19,000 kilometers on it right now. When I bought it, there was just under 13,000 kilometers. So I put a few kilometers on it since I bought it. All through the winter too, right? Okay, I'm just gonna continue on cooking. Also I want to mention, I've got my cutting board here. I've put it like upright to separate the kitchen from the bedroom when I'm cooking. But I just ordered, I guess it's a stainless steel or aluminum thing that you can use it outside in the campfire if you want for cooking, to keep the wind from blowing your flames out. Or I think I'm gonna really mostly use it in here to keep all things off my window and walls when I'm cooking. Another thing, why didn't they put a fan in here, like right up above the stove, a fan up here to go outside? It would have been a very simple thing to do. And it would have solved the problem of the window going in backwards. Okay, yeah, geez, they're just thoughts that I get every time I cook, right? I don't have a lid for this little frying pan. So what I usually do is I make a little tent with some foil and just kind of stick it on top there, just to help keep the heat in and cook it a little more. And the vegetables are doing great. They look really nice. One carrot and a bunch of little tiny baby potatoes. You gotta love those baby potatoes, right? I like to put a little butter on my little new potatoes. So I bought this butter, right? It says whipped butter spreadable. It's a lie. And then it says to keep refrigerated. Well, obviously it goes in the refrigerator. It's not going to be spreadable no matter how much it's been whipped ahead of time. So in the nighttime, what I do is I take it out of the fridge and leave it on the counter for my toast in the morning, and that way it's room temperature and it is definitely more spreadable. So I'll use this, once I use this butter up, I'll never buy it again, because I would normally use butter in a block. I think I have one here. Oh, I thought I bought one before. Maybe I did not, which means I need to. All right. I normally buy my butter in a rectangle block and never put it in the fridge. I literally have left butter in a container in my cupboard for months. It has never, I've never had any butter go off doing it that way. I remember my mother used to have a bit of a issue with that. Oh, you should put it in the fridge, dear. No. I don't like hard butter. There's no point using it if I have to fight with it to use it. So I didn't ever put it in the fridge. My mother, she was a butter person. She loved her butter, but she always had it in the fridge. Worked for her. You got to do what works for you. Lots of different ways of doing things, but you got to do what works for you. You want to keep yourself happy. Because other people will never keep you happy. That's up to you. You got to keep yourself happy. I think if we waited for other people to keep us happy, we'd be, well, let me just say, we better not hold our breath waiting. We'll turn the color of my t-shirt here. Oh, it's coming along. And the vegetables are coming along. I mean, it's good to have a vent open and 2 windows open, right? It's good because then they'll never get any residue inside here, right? There are definite changes a person makes when they live this lifestyle. We don't take anything for granted, ever. You appreciate every drop of water that you get. Because I don't drink from this tap here. I don't drink from there. I use that for washing dishes, cleaning, that sort of thing. And same within the bathroom. Now, I do use the bathroom sink water, that faucet, brushing my teeth, but I never swallow that water. It's just a little bit in my mouth. I haven't gotten sick from it, so it's okay. I just have a issue. My own personal thing is, the tank is over there, and it's humongous big tank. And I wish I was comfortable with just drinking the water here from the tap, from that tank, but I'm not. It would make things just a little bit easier. Anyways, see how we're doing. Yeah, we're coming along. Yeah, so I was told that that water in the tank is probably okay to drink. I used to skipper a boat. I had a 34-foot Tollycraft. It was a 1974 boat. It was a really nice boat. I had it for 10 years and did a lot of cruising in the Georgia Strait. And it had a water tank, and I used to drink water from that faucet right out of that tank. But my friend Howard, well, he was my friend at the time, him and his wife. I don't see or know them anymore. They haven't done for many, many years, however, but he always said, put a couple drops of chlorine bleach in your water tank, and that's all you need to do with every tank, and your water will always be good to drink. So I used to do that on my boat. The difference here, why I haven't done that here is because I don't know how to get the water into the tank, because I fill that water up outside with a hose, unless I drop some bleach in the hose, but I don't know if that's such a good idea. I don't think so. Anyways, if anybody knows anything about that sort of thing, feel free to hop me off a message, and I'll appreciate the advice. All right, back to my cooking. Probably the best way to get the butter safely into the vegetables and get it all melted is to just drop it in. Oopsie. A little bit in the sink there. I don't want that to go down the drain. That would be greasy, and too much of that will clog a drain, which is the last thing I want to do, let me tell you, clog a drain. All right then, let's see how we're doing here. Let's wipe up that little bit of spill. Put the butter back in the fridge. So this is going to melt, that butter's going to melt. We're going to mix that up. Don't touch the handle of a cast iron frying pan. When it's cooking, it's really hot. Now this should be about the time when my smoke detector will go off. And if it does, I'll turn this off and deal with that. Let me turn this down a bit. That's already, the vegetables, they're already turned off. They weren't quite done, but by the time the meat is done and they're turned off, it will be perfect. I don't like them too soft. I like just a little bit, not crunchy, but a little bit of firmness in my vegetables. I'm just going to make a little slice here and see what the inside of this pork steak is looking like. Oh, it's almost done. It's looking beautiful. Still going to turn it down a bit more. I said don't touch that handle. What's wrong with me? Why do I continue to not listen to my own advice? I'm going to eat this where I'm parked right now. I'm at the park. Let me just show you here. Oh, I'm going to turn it around again. Okay, just 1 second. This is where I am. I'm still at the park. What a great park. I love parking here because it's so peaceful. Okay, put you back up here. Sorry about all the nonsense here. There we go. I'll probably watch something on YouTube while I'm eating dinner, and then I'll clean up and head over to where I'm going to park for the night and settle in. I've left it kind of late tonight, so there may not be a spot for me. I'll keep my fingers crossed, and if you keep yours fingers crossed, that might help. There is my dinner. Yum. I'm going to enjoy that now, and I'll catch up with you, for you in a few seconds. All right, dinner's done. I've cleaned up the kitchen, put everything away, closed Mr.'s window. If you know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about. But I'll just tell you, I drove away from a spot last week, and his window where he sits and hangs his head out was left wide open. And he was sitting right beside it. As I drove along, my heart thumped, 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 thumped. I pulled over as soon as I found a safe spot and prayed that he didn't slip out the window, because he's level with the opening of the window, like the bed is level. So not a good scenario for any cat mom to find herself in. We're responsible for the safety of those guys, and I failed epically on that one. He was in danger, but now all turned out okay. All right, let's go and find out if there's going to be a spot for me or not tonight. I'm just going to turn this off for 1 second. It's a busy time of day, so got to keep my eyes on the road, I say. Let's do our checklist. Seatbelts on, emergency brakes off, we're in drive, the window's closed. Let's adjust these side mirrors so they're not aiming at the ground. I aim the mirrors down when I'm backing in and parking because I want to see where the curb is so I don't hit the curb. So now that one looks just fine and dandy. Okay, put the armrest down. Now let's go to the other one. It is fine and dandy. Let's go. All right, we're free and clear to pull out. I meant to pick up some raspberries today, but I never did go to a grocery store. So no berries for me in the morning. I like the berries at Costco. They're like always so fresh. The berries always fresh, and they last for 4 days in my fridge if I don't eat them right away. Speaking of berries, I was watching a homesteader YouTuber last night, and this fellow was saying that the agricultural corporation, the agricultural body that runs all agriculture in the United States, I'm sure it's very much the same for Canada. They sell you the seeds, that's fine, they sell you the seeds. And normally, if you've grown up ever doing any gardening whatsoever with your grandparents or parents and whatnot, you will know that you were taught that these seeds will reseed for next season. the potatoes and the carrots, all these root vegetables, they will reseed. And that's why you leave a few in the ground, because they will be ready for next year's harvest. Well, apparently, I guess people like, I hate to say it, but Bill Gates and Monsanto and a few other of these major billionaire, trillionaire people that run the world, they've created seeds now that will never reseed. And they have genetically altered the seeds. I find that really wrong. Really wrong. For the sake of earning more money and selling more seeds, they've altered the composition of the seed itself. I'm not a fan of that. And apparently, unless you have your own seeds from a long time ago, there is no such thing as being able to purchase a seed that will reseed itself next season. There is no such thing on the market in the USA. Now, I don't know if Canada's the same. I'm going to assume, yeah, we're not supposed to assume, right? Makes an ass out of you and me, but I'm going to assume we're pretty much in lockstep with them on that. The truck beside me's got his radio playing super loud. I hope YouTube doesn't hear that. And speaking of the music, I was also commenting on why on our YouTube channels we are not permitted to promote artists and musicians that we like to listen to. If we promote those people on our channels, more people will be able to hear these artists, and they can go buy their music. They'll go, oh, I really like that song, that was a really good playlist you had today, so on and so forth. But no, we're not allowed to promote artists on our channels. And maybe the artists one day will get together and overpower YouTube. Oh, good luck with that. Yeah, YouTube's way too powerful. So I do know there's music on some people's channels because they purchase a subscription to music that you can play on the YouTube. So there's nothing wrong with that. If you can purchase music to be played on your channel on YouTube, why can I not play music I've already purchased from artists and musicians and play it on my YouTube channel? I've already purchased it. But no, there's a big control factor here of what music you can purchase. I don't like the way that things are going. I don't like that. I don't know. I just remember growing up in a world that we had more freedom of choice and more freedoms of just how we live than we do now. My generation is the last generation that experienced that wonderful lifestyle that was a lot more carefree. I'm serious. Never, ever, ever in school, whether it be primary, elementary, or high school, did any child ever care about what religion another child believed in. Nobody even talked about it. It was not an issue. Nobody cared what the neighbors, what party the neighbors voted for. In fact, I can remember the men in the neighborhood with my dad sitting around in the backyard having a beer and whatnot, talking about different, like the NDP, the Liberals, the Conservatives, the CCP, all that. And they would talk about all these different political parties in an adult fashion, and not one person got mad at the other person. These were just adults having adult conversations. And now you can't even bring up the subject of politics if somebody doesn't believe. If you don't believe something that somebody believes, you better steer clear of that conversation, because you and I both know that we now live in a world where there are so many angry people spewing vitriol because you don't think the way they think. And therefore, you can't have full relationships with people that you think differently from, because they're so busy getting mad at you for not thinking like them that it blocks you having a full relationship. And to me, that's just sad. I like differences of opinions. I really do. I like to hear all sides. If there's 5 sides to a coin, I'm interested in all 5 sides. And guess what? I might like things a little bit out of each side. I have my beliefs, but that doesn't mean I'm stuck on them. I'm always open to change. I'm always open to new information. Why do we go around hating? It's such a waste of our time. I would much rather go around loving, and I can love a person who thinks differently than me. I have no problem with that, because it's other qualities that are involved in a relationship, not just what your politics or religions are. Oh my gosh, I'm going on and on and on. I like people no matter what they think. If they're good people, it doesn't matter what their beliefs are in those areas I just spoke about. If they're good people, good human beings, and they treat me well and they treat others well and they look after them, I enjoy being with them, period, no matter what their beliefs are. I just wish that our world hadn't changed so much, that we have so much hate in our world. It's really, to me, just the saddest change in the generation. Do I have a spot? Is this a spot? Or is this not big enough for me? Let me go see. Let me go see if I'm big enough for this. I don't want to block that guy in, though. That's the thing. There's the back end. No, I'm good. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is just the best thing ever. I literally drove into this spot. How did I get that lucky? And I'm not even blocking the guy in front of me. Wow. Okay, armrest up, seatbelt off, pull the emergency brake up. The other thing I have to do is pull this side mirror in. I'll show you just a sec here. I'll bring you over here and show you. I'm gonna try to, I have to turn it around. It doesn't, there. So see, here's what I have to do. Oopsie. Power cord, not long enough. I have to go out here. Can you see what I'm doing? And I have to pull that in. Just because cars come whipping up that street. Okay, so I got the side mirror pulled in, and I know, like, I exaggerate 5 feet on each side are my mirrors, but that's what it feels like. So I need to pull them in. And I have seen RVs and vans where their side mirrors don't stick out that far. You know what it always reminds me of? Do you remember in elementary school, especially in my generation, if you're in your 70s, the boys all had short hair. In fact, crew cuts and all kinds of things like that. And there were some boys who had great big ears that just stuck out the poor little darlings, right? Some of them, and if they were skinny boys and had the ears stick out, oh, and then some of them even had buck teeth and their ears stuck out. And children aren't the kindest, right? Children often tease children. That's just part of growing up. Anyways, so the Beatles changed all that, didn't they? When they came along, they made it okay for boys to have hair covering their ears. I think that's when things started really changing. Like, boys can have longer hair, right? Girls can wear jeans. When I was in school, we were not allowed to wear pants, us girls. And I was in a regular public school here in British Columbia. And we were allowed to, in the winter, because we had to walk quite far to school. In the winter, we were allowed to wear our pants to school underneath our skirts. And then we had to remove the pants during school hours. Go figure, right? Like, the rules have changed so much. Oh my God. You weren't even allowed to have your skirts a certain short length, or you were told to unroll it at the waist, because back then, especially in early high school, we would shorten our skirts by rolling them up at the waist. Does anybody remember that? Now it's like all modesty is out the window. Girls now show like literally everything. I remember I was sitting in the BC Ferries parking lot. It was summertime last year, and this quite pretty young lady, not even 20, was walking, and I saw her in my side mirror, and she was walking that way. So yeah, she'd be walking away from me by the time she got in front of my vehicle. But I noticed all the people that were outside enjoying the weather staring at her. So of course I had to look at her to see what the heck was going on, right? Well, when she walked past me, here she was, beautiful suntan, cute little figure, and she was wearing a very mini pleated skirt, like something that looked like a mini Scottish kilt, quite mini. And every time she walked, the pleats would go like that, and her butt cheeks were bare. So you see a butt cheek and a butt cheek and a butt cheek. Okay, yeah, like she was like gorgeous butt cheeks for sure. Nobody could deny that. But she knew exactly what she was doing. That's the thing. And we grew up thinking that how we dress and present ourselves is our message to the world around us. And you need to expect consequences by your behavior. I actually still believe that. Call me old-fashioned, call me what you want, don't call me late for dinner. But I still believe that how we present ourselves is a very subliminal message to our world. And I've never been a fan of women dressing scantily, sexy, and I don't mean sensual, that's different to me, but showing almost all their parts. I've never believed or bought into the idea that a male should not react to that. That to me is biology. Look at the way animals are when it's mating season. They behave ridiculously because they want the attention of the opposite sex so they can have baby birds or baby cows or whatever they are. That's the talk. That's the dance that's done. Humans also do a dance, except what's happened since I was young and now is that the men are no longer allowed to respond to the dance that the very scantily dressed and behavior presented from that scantily dressed female. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I know I'm not articulating this very well, but I am trying to say that I wouldn't want to be a young man or a man for anything at all because they don't know what to do anymore. They can't react the way nature intended them to react to these kind of behaviors. They're not allowed to react. They have to stifle it. So why are the women allowed to do all these things to entice the man? And it does entice them. Why are they allowed to do all these things and the men are not allowed to react? I find that really quite unfair. Maybe feminism, I'm not a feminist, but maybe feminism was partly to do with that. Don't really know for sure. But anyways, that's my little, how did I get on that subject? Holy smokes. Anyways, I'm going to settle in here for the night, and I don't think I'll be back again tonight. I am expecting packages, like I said, from somewhere, and his new diapers were supposed to arrive yesterday and they didn't. So I'm expecting those, but they haven't come yet. Apparently they're out for delivery and should be delivered by 9 o'clock tonight to the address where I have them sent to. And I won't be leaving this parking spot now to go get them. I'll wait until tomorrow if they show up tonight. So I hope you are loved and I hope that you love. Until next time, please take care and stay well.